This session of the Jackson County Board of Education is now called to order. As you know, this is a personnel meeting, so those are usually short and sweet. But we're going to start our meeting off as we normally do with a moment of silence. So we're rounding up on our school year, so if you will take a moment to reflect and pray for our upcoming year, please. Thank you. First on our agenda is we have a motion to approve this agenda as it is presented. We have a motion.
I move to approve the agenda.
Mr. West makes a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that motion. Is there any discussion about the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda stands approved. Under item 1, personnel actions, we have resignations. Consider a motion to accept the resignation of Dina Baker as countywide bus driver effective 7/27/17.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Story makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West makes second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Dukes, do you want to?
Yes, that Ms. Baker has resigned, and we are not filling that position. We are consolidating some routes. Mr. Kirby and Mr. Davidson's been working on that along with the bus driver too. There's 10 routes at Skyline. That's going to put us down to 9, and we're looking countywide to start consolidating more as people retire. We're not going to force anybody out, but as they resign or retire, we're going to look at consolidating more routes.
And then I'm sure if the need rises to split routes again, we have an increase in population that
Absolutely.
will do those things. Okay, any questions for Mr. Dukes? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Kent?
Yes.
Myself. Motion carries. Transfers. Consider a motion to transfer Jenny Edwards from a 50% teacher at Bridgeport Elementary to a full-time teacher at Bridgeport Elementary effective 8/9/17. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Story seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is yes, the motion carries. Employee. Consider a motion to employ Hugh Glenn Lewis as a countywide bus driver effective 8/9/17.
I move to employ Mr. Lewis as a bus driver.
Mr. West makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carries. B, consider a motion to employ Jody Posey as a countywide ELLA effective 8/9/17, and this will be pending her, the background clearance. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Chris Hamby as a bus mechanic effective 8/21/17, also pending a background clearance.
I move we accept that recommendation.
Mr. Gant makes a motion to accept the
Second.
recommendation. Mr. West, second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Hope Rusall as a 50% teacher at Skyline High School effective 8/9/17. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, motion carries. Item E, consider a motion to employ Micah Bass as a countywide Indian education aide effective 8/9/17.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Story makes a motion. Is there-
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. That motion carries. Item F, consider a motion to employ Ashlyn Cobb as a 50% teacher at Bridgeport Elementary effective 8/9/17.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Story makes a motion to approve the recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Lauren Page Manchin as a 50% teacher at Bridgeport Middle School effective 8/9/17.
I'll make the motion.
Story makes the motion to approve the recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Excuse me. Consider a motion to employ Suzanne York as a pre-K teacher at Pisgah, effective 8/9/17. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Jenny Wilson as a countywide aide effective 8/14/17.
I move to employ Jenny Wilson as a countywide aide.
All right, Mr. West makes a motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Crystal Lloyd as a countywide aide effective 8/9/17.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Story makes a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Starlet Wells as a countywide aide effective 8/9/17. This is pending the work keys completion, which is an assessment they'll take. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest seconds the motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Jason Williams as a countywide aide effective 8/9/17. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. West seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote on that. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ TJ Perry as a countywide aide effective 8/9/17.
I'll make that move.
Mr. Gant
Second.
makes a motion. Mr. Story seconds that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, and that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Emily York as a countywide aide effective 8/9/17.
I move to employ Miss York as countywide aide.
Mr. West makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Story makes a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Rhea Johnson as a countywide aide effective 8/9/17.
I'll make that move.
Mr. Gant makes the motion. I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, and that motion carries. P, consider a motion to employ Melanie Webb as a 7-hour CNP employee at Stevenson Elementary School effective 8/9/17.
I'll make the motion.
Story makes a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guest makes a second to the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guest?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, that motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Macy Owens as a countywide aide effective 8/9/17. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. West seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? We'll move to a vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. That motion carries. Consider a motion to employ Tanya Gowers as a special education teacher at Section High School effective 8/9/17. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Story seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? I'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
Myself is yes, that motion carries. Under coaching, we have two items. One is to consider a motion to approve Joey Kirby, coach at North Sand Mountain High School, effective 8/3/17.
Thought we did that last week.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, is it different scope? Okay. All right, we're gonna approve him to coach at North Sand Mountain,
Oh, okay.
so.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Mr. Story makes that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gant seconds. Is there any discussion? None. We'll move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself, and that motion carries. Consider a motion to approve Mikhail Meeker as a volunteer coach at Stevenson Middle School, effective 8/3/17.
I make that move.
Mr. Story, I know Mr. Gant makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Guess seconds that. Is there any discussion?
I'd assume he has got his paperwork in.
Yes, what I was about to say, he has that in, Ms. Kenner says. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move to vote. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Dr. Guess?
Yes.
Mr. Gant?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Under announcements, we have, we're scheduling our second personnel board meeting for the 15th, so August the 15th. And that will also be at 8 o'clock. And then we'll have a regular scheduled board meeting on 8/24 at 4:30. So personnel to make some hires again on the 15th. And our regular scheduled board meeting will be on 8/24. And Mr. Deeks wants us to know that the board members are invited to the Institute in service at Northeast, and that's going to be
This Wednesday at 8:30.
coming Wednesday at 8:30. So it's always a fun time. I know people dread summer ending, but they sure do like, I think, go to Institute and see everybody else from different schools. So Northeast, I know, is proud to be able to host that too. So anything else? We got any other announcements that we need to make? I think Mr. Colvin is going to make a present at the 24th, meeting on the 24th about what they've got coming up at Bridgeport. So we're excited about that, and I think it's good for our principals if you've got something that's going on to present at the board meeting. Because typically we draw a pretty good crowd. We definitely have our representatives from the newspapers that are typically here, and sometimes we have television cameras. I'm not sure television cameras are always good, but sometimes we have them. And if we can give good news while you're here, that's a good thing. So if you have something going on, please share, because it's welcomed here. Anything else? Hearing nothing else, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Mr. Gant makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have seconds. I assume there's no discussion on that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.